The Galactic Council's chamber was an awe-inspiring fusion of technology and artistry, suspended in the infinite reaches of space, where stars sparkled like shattered crystals. Its curved walls, made of a semi-transparent material, displayed holographic maps of the galaxy, with planets and their diverse inhabitants glowing like precious stones. Delegates from every prominent civilization gathered around a central platform, each showcasing the vast range of their species' unique forms. Scaled reptilian diplomats from the desert world of Karas, beings made of living crystals from Weiser Prime, and gaseous entities floating within translucent orbs communicated in their unearthly tongues, their voices vibrating with a blend of curiosity and unease. The assembly had convened to address an urgent and growing crisis: the Kryler swarm. This hive mind species had already consumed half of the ZTH cluster, leaving behind only barren worlds. Neither technology nor military might had been able to stem their insatiable spread. The Council, on the brink of desperation, had nearly exhausted all possible solutions. In the farthest corner of the chamber stood a tall, imposing figure, Ambassador Kale of the Terrans. The humanoid species, resembling humans in many ways, but distinct in their physical features, adjusted the dark green fabric of their robes before stepping forward. Their voice, amplified by an integrated translator chip, resonated with an eerie clarity that filled the chamber. Honored members of the Council, Kale began, their tone unwavering. It is time we consider an unexpected ally, a species that thrives under conditions that most of us would deem impossible. A species that, through pure necessity, has not only endured but has learned to excel in the harshest of environments. With a deliberate motion, Kale summoned a holographic projection to the center of the room, revealing a rotating image of Earth. Its surface shifted to showcase vast oceans, lush forests, and cities cloaked in smog. As the image zoomed in, flashes of heat signatures, war zones, industrial infernos, and natural calamities lit up the globe. This is Earth, Kale continued. The so-called Death World, its inhabitants, humans, are the epitome of survival against overwhelming odds. Their biology, their mindset, and their unyielding will make them ideally suited for warfare. A chorus of murmurs spread across the Council, some members clearly taken aback. A Yoran, composed of crystalline formations, floated closer to Kale, its voice a delicate yet sharp chime. Ambassador, if I may, are these humans not still a primitive species? Their technology barely extends beyond their own star system. Kale raised a hand, quieting the room, their gaze unflinching. Primitive, perhaps, but where they lack in advanced technology, they more than make up for in ingenuity, resilience, and resourcefulness. Conventional means will not stop the Kryler swarm, but humans, with their adaptability and unrelenting nature, may be our best hope. A new figure emerged from the shadows, a Thaian general, a towering figure whose body was built for war and clad in ornate battle armor. But we have fought alongside more advanced species, and they too have faltered. What makes these humans any different? Kale's lips curved into a rare, knowing smile. Allow me to demonstrate. With a subtle gesture, the projection shifted once again. It now displayed scenes from Earth's tumultuous past, ancient warriors in bronze armor clashing on battlefields, medieval armies launching flaming projectiles, and industrial tanks advancing through ravaged cities. The holographic display accelerated, transitioning rapidly through Earth's tumultuous history, ending with the modern age. Explosions of nuclear warfare illuminated the screen, while missiles arced across continents, their trails marking the path of devastation. The imagery was raw, unpolished, offering an unfiltered look at humanity's most catastrophic moments. A heavy silence descended over the Council chamber. This, Kale continued, his voice unwavering, represents only a small fraction of their history. Humanity is born into conflict, and their survival has always been rooted in their capacity to adapt, to fight, and when necessary, to destroy. They have honed warfare into a precise, calculated discipline. Even in the absence of advanced technology, their victories are won through sheer ingenuity. They manipulate the environment, exploit their enemies' weaknesses, and above all, they endure. The Thaian general's piercing eyes glowed with skepticism. Endurance is of little use against the Kryler swarm, Ambassador. They are unstoppable. What makes you believe humans will succeed where we have failed? Kale tapped a button on the console, altering the hologram once more. The image shifted to a human soldier standing alone on a desolate battlefield, surrounded by overwhelming odds. The soldier, clad in basic armor, fought with a mixture of tactical precision and raw strength, using the terrain to outsmart an opponent far superior in technology. The image froze at the moment of triumph, bloodied but standing victorious. Because humans understand the very psychology of war, Kale said, his voice steady. They do not fight for fame or honor, they fight to survive. survive. Their endurance is their greatest weapon. A renewed wave of murmurs swept through the chamber. Some delegates leaned in with interest, while others exchanged uneasy glances. At last, the council leader, a towering, bioluminescent creature that resembled a floating jellyfish, moved to the center of the room. Its voice echoed directly into the minds of all present, resonating in their thoughts. Ambassador Kale, your proposal is unconventional. However, the council acknowledges the severity of our plight. We shall hear these humans speak for themselves. Summon them. Kale inclined his head in a gesture of respect. It will be done. 2 weeks later, the representatives of Earth arrived at the council's orbital station. A sleek, black vessel glided through the void like a shard of onyx. While its design was far less advanced than the polished ships of the other species, its presence commanded immediate attention. Inside the council chamber, 3 human delegates took their seats. They stood in stark contrast to the opulent attire of the surrounding aliens, their clothing simple but functional. At the forefront was General Marcus Reef, a seasoned veteran whose weathered face bore the marks of countless battles. Beside him were Dr. Eliza Carter, a historian, and Lieutenant Cara Blake, a combat specialist. General Reef stepped forward, his voice calm but resolute. Honored members of the council, I am General Marcus Reef, here to represent the United Earth Federation. We understand your need for humanity's assistance in combating the Kryler swarm. But before we discuss terms, let me be clear. Humanity does not approach war lightly. His words hung in the air, laden with unspoken weight. The council members exchanged wary glances, uncertain whether to feel reassured or threatened. Dr. Carter activated her own holographic projection, which displayed Earth's ecosystems, volcanic eruptions, tsunamis, and hurricanes, juxtaposed with scenes of human perseverance and resilience in the face of calamity. This is our world, Dr. Carter began, her voice steady as the holographic imagery shifted to depict Earth's relentless environment, a planet where every day the forces of nature challenge us. We did not merely survive, we adapted, we thrived. This forged our unique perspective on conflict. But make no mistake, we are no saviors. We do not enter wars we cannot finish. Lieutenant Blake, standing beside her, spoke with conviction. If you see us as mere instruments of war, you misunderstand us. We fight only when we believe the cause is just. The council leader, still floating at the center, its bioluminescent tendrils glowing softly, leaned forward. And what would persuade humans to join our struggle? General Reef, ever resolute, locked eyes with the council leader. Show us that you are fighting not for power, but for survival and unity. Prove that this war is worth the cost, and humanity will consider your request. The council, known for its meticulous nature, insisted on gaining a deeper understanding of humanity's past before making any decisions. To facilitate this, the Earth's delegates, General Marcus Reef, Dr. Eliza Carter, and Lieutenant Cara Blake, offered the council unrestricted access to a comprehensive archive of human history. The chamber buzzed with anticipation as the alien representatives from across the galaxy took their seats, eager to witness the review, their faces a mix of curiosity and doubt. Before we begin, Dr. Carter addressed the assembly, her tone calm but firm. I must warn you, humanity's history is one of resilience, but also of conflict. Our journey has been shaped by survival, often at great cost. With that, the lights in the chamber dimmed, and the holographic projectors hummed to life, casting vivid images into the air. The display began with Earth in its early volatile state, volcanic eruptions, fierce storms, and barren landscapes. As the visuals unfolded, life slowly began to emerge, primitive creatures evolving and struggling to adapt. The timeline accelerated, fast-forwarding from the age of dinosaurs to the rise of early humanity. The projection zoomed in on a small tribe of early humans huddled around a fire. Their faces were smeared with soot, their eyes alert and wary as they faced the dangers of the wild. In the shadows, a pack of saber-toothed predators silently stalked them. Outmatched by the creature's strength, the humans demonstrated their ingenuity, setting traps, using fire as a weapon, and working together to survive. This was humanity's beginning, Dr. Carter continued. Unlike many species in the galaxy, humans did not evolve in a world that catered to them. Our survival depended on our creativity, our cooperation, and our unyielding will to overcome. The scene shifted, moving through time to show the rise of ancient civilizations: Mesopotamia, Egypt, the Indus Valley. Towering ziggurats and bustling cities appeared, representing humanity's capacity for creation amidst adversity. Yet alongside Alongside these achievements were darker moments. Vast armies marching to war, empires rising and falling through conquest. The sight of it stirred something in the council members, and a crystalline Yorin floated closer to the projection, its voice ringing out like the chime of shattering glass. Fascinating, it mused, but these early conflicts appear primitive. Were they truly necessary? Dr. Carter nodded, acknowledging the question. They were. These conflicts shaped our world, for better or worse. Survival often demanded it. Peace was a luxury we could not afford. The holographic display shifted, unveiling a new chapter in human history, the Age of Empires. Roman legions advanced in tight formations, Genghis Khan's cavalry surged across the vast steppes, and European explorers claimed distant lands. The Council watched as humanity's relentless quest for expansion led to both innovation and devastation. Carter spoke, "In this era, we mastered the art of organization and strategy. We built complex systems of governance and trade, but we also waged wars that laid entire regions to waste." The hologram froze on an image of a burning city, the skies thick with smoke. This was only one of countless examples of our destructive nature. Yet, even amid such devastation, we learned. Each conflict, no matter how costly, taught us valuable lessons. An Ashin general gave a low grunt of approval. "Your species seems to thrive in chaos." Impressive, though reckless. As the timeline progressed, the imagery became more familiar. The Industrial Revolution unfolded, with factories belching smoke, railroads linking continents, and the emergence of modern weaponry. This period marked a critical turning point, Carter explained. We harnessed new sources of energy, reshaped the landscape, and expanded our reach. But with every advancement, the capacity for destruction grew. The chamber fell into an eerie silence as the projection shifted to the horrors of World War I. Trenches stretched across the earth, filled with soldiers enduring gas attacks and constant bombardments. The faces of those who survived bore the marks of suffering, a somber reminder of humanity's self-destructive tendencies. Millions lost their lives, Carter said quietly. But from this calamity, humanity began to grasp the futility of such wars. But the timeline did not halt. World War II erupted onto the screen, showing the full scale of the global conflict. The projection displayed images of concentration camps, cities reduced to rubble by bombings, and the first nuclear detonation, its mushroom cloud billowing across the horizon. The alien delegates recoiled in horror. A gas-like entity, suspended in its orb, trembled. "What is that? A nuclear explosion?" Carter nodded somberly. "The peak of our destructive power at the time. It ended the war, but left lasting scars on our world." The display moved to the Cold War era, emphasizing the tense standoff between superpowers, each holding enough nuclear weapons to annihilate the planet. It showcased proxy wars, the rise of space exploration, and the eventual collapse of tyrannical regimes. Though we nearly brought ourselves to the brink of extinction, Carter noted, we also ventured into the stars. Our curiosity began to guide us away from conflict and toward understanding the universe. The hologram then shifted to the 21st century. Rapid advancements in medicine, communication, and artificial intelligence, all contrasted with ongoing strife. Human creativity and destructiveness were woven together, forming a complex and tangled history. Lieutenant Blake stepped forward. "What you've witnessed highlights our ability to destroy, but it also underscores our resilience. Humanity is not defined by our wars, but by our capacity to learn from them." The projection then shifted to powerful images of humanitarian work, disaster relief efforts, peace treaties, and global initiatives to combat climate change. These scenes stood in stark contrast to the earlier depictions of warfare, offering a glimpse of a species striving to redeem itself. Blake continued, "We've grown stronger not only in strength but in wisdom. We don't fight for the thrill of it, but because we often have no other choice. And when we do engage, we commit ourselves completely." As the presentation came to an end, the lights in the chamber brightened. The alien representatives remained still, processing the flood of information. For some, humanity's history represented a story of hope, a testament to the strength of perseverance. For others, it was a sobering reminder of the destructive potential humans could unleash upon the galaxy. The council leader, its bioluminescent tendrils pulsating with light, addressed the humans. "Your history is both awe-inspiring and alarming. You have shown yourselves capable of remarkable achievements, but your capacity for devastation cannot be ignored. How can we trust that your involvement will not bring ruin to our galaxy?" General Reef, who had remained silent throughout the presentation, stepped forward. His voice was steady, his gaze unwavering. "Because we've learned the true cost of war. We don't take it lightly, and when we fight, we do so with a clear purpose. purpose: to protect, to preserve, and to secure a better future for all. The council members exchanged uneasy looks. The humans had given them a glimpse of life on a death world, a harsh, unforgiving fight for survival. Whether this would prove to be a blessing or a curse for the galaxy was still uncertain. The council's discussions on humanity's potential inclusion in the galactic military reached an impasse. Their admiration for human resilience and creativity was tempered by their fear of humanity's destructive capacity. To break the deadlock, a proposal was made for a controlled simulation, a test to observe how humans would perform in direct combat against a formidable adversary. The Kryler swarm was to be simulated within the Galactic Council's state-of-the-art battle system, known as the Nexus Arena, a facility capable of creating an extraordinarily realistic combat environment. The human representatives agreed to the demonstration, knowing their success or failure would determine whether humanity would become a valued ally or a feared threat in the galaxy. The Nexus Arena was a vast, high-tech space station, its interior designed to mimic a wide range of planetary conditions. From dense jungles to arid wastelands, every conceivable biome could be recreated with perfect precision. For this trial, the Council chose a setting most advantageous to the Kryler swarm, a desolate desert terrain with minimal cover, blistering heat, and unpredictable sandstorms. The rules were straightforward. Two teams would face off in a battle scenario. The Kryler forces would be controlled by the Council's most advanced artificial intelligence, which had analyzed countless battles and developed sophisticated strategies. The human team would consist of 5 operatives, led by Lieutenant Kara Blake. The Council members observed from an elevated chamber, their holographic forms casting down over the arena, providing a bird's-eye view of the unfolding battle. As the simulation began, Lieutenant Blake and her team materialized onto the desert floor. Their combat gear was a combination of practicality and adaptability, designed for a variety of environments. The Kryler forces, by contrast, relied on sheer numbers and hive-mind coordination, creating a stark contrast in battle styles. The human team was armed with basic weaponry and limited supplies, their technological disadvantage immediately apparent. The first wave of Kryler drones emerged from the horizon, their gleaming metallic exoskeletons catching the simulated sunlight. Moving with the precision of a hive mind, they coordinated flawlessly. The human team, heavily outnumbered at a ratio of 10-to-1, adapted quickly. Lieutenant Blake's voice cut through the comms. Form up. Use the terrain. Remember, Kryler drones can't maneuver in tight spaces. Her team spread out, taking cover behind jagged rocks and shallow dunes, using the harsh desert environment to their advantage. The Kryler forces advanced relentlessly, their mechanical limbs slicing through the sand with relentless efficiency. As the swarm drew closer, the humans executed a series of unorthodox tactics designed not to destroy the swarm outright, but to disrupt its cohesion. One soldier set off a charge beneath a sand dune, collapsing it onto a group of Kryler drones, while another used reflective materials to blind their optical sensors. The Council watched in astonishment. The humans' tactics were unconventional, perhaps even reckless, but undeniably effective. Every maneuver was calculated to fracture the Kryler's hive-mind coordination, exploiting weaknesses in their programming rather than seeking total annihilation. Midway through the battle, the Kryler forces shifted their approach. The swarm split into smaller groups, encircling the humans and blocking any potential escape. For a moment, it seemed that the Kryler's superior numbers would overwhelm the human team. But Lieutenant Blake anticipated this tactic. With a calm, deliberate motion, she activated a distress beacon, not to call for reinforcements, but to lure the swarm into a trap. The Kryler AI, recognizing the beacon as a high-priority signal, directed a large portion of its forces into a narrow canyon. Blake's team had preemptively mined the canyon walls with improvised explosives, detonating them as the Krylers entered. A deafening explosion sent debris crashing down, trapping a significant portion of the swarm. "This is more than strategy," an Ashian general remarked, watching in disbelief. "They're manipulating the Kryler instincts, turning their strength into a vulnerability." The Council began to grasp the depths of human warfare. It wasn't just about weapons and tactics. Humans employed psychological warfare, exploiting their enemies' instincts and forcing them into fatal mistakes. As the simulation continued, the Kryler AI adapted, deploying airborne drones to counter the human traps. Blake's team responded with even greater creativity. Using salvaged parts from the destroyed Kryler drones, they fashioned a makeshift EMP device to temporarily disrupt the swarm's coordination. The Council chamber buzzed with murmurs of surprise and admiration. A crystalline Yoran floated closer to the edge of the observation platform, its voice sharp and musical. "Their resourcefulness is beyond comprehension. They turn every disadvantage into an opportunity." Despite their ingenuity, the human team began to feel the strain. Supplies dwindled and injuries mounted. One soldier, wounded by a Kryler drone, refused to evacuate. Instead, he volunteered to draw enemy fire, allowing the rest of the team to regroup. His sacrifice was a stark reminder of the human resolve. No matter the cost, they would fight until the very end. This act of self-sacrifice struck a profound chord with the Council, revealing another layer of humanity's distinctive character: their willingness to endure personal loss for the sake of a greater cause. In the final stage of the simulation, the Kryler AI unveiled its most formidable weapon, a colossal, heavily armored war drone designed to crush any resistance in its path. The human team was down to just 3 operatives, their ammunition nearly depleted. Lieutenant Blake, with her trademark calm under pressure, ordered a strategic retreat to a simulated abandoned outpost within the arena. Using the sparse resources available, the team quickly devised a desperate plan. They constructed a series of decoys and planted thermal charges at critical structural points within the outpost. The success of the plan hinged on perfect timing and flawless coordination. As the Kryler war drone neared, the humans split up, using feints and ambushes to draw its attention. The final moments were a blur of frantic movement and precise action. Blake, ever the strategist, acted as bait, drawing the war drone to the heart of the outpost. With only seconds remaining, she triggered the thermal charges, collapsing the structure onto the war drone, engulfing it in a fiery explosion. The ensuing blast shook the arena as the dust began to settle, signaling the end of the battle. The simulation concluded, and the human team, though battered and bruised, stood victorious. The council chamber was silent, the weight of what they had just witnessed hanging heavily in the air. The human team was transported back to the observation chamber, where they stood before the council, their presence commanding the room. Lieutenant Blake, her uniform torn and bloodied from the battle, met the gaze of the alien delegates with quiet defiance, her resolve unwavering. General Reeve, who had watched the entire simulation from the sidelines, stepped forward and addressed the council. "This is what humanity offers. We don't rely on superior technology or overwhelming numbers. We rely on our ability to adapt, our creativity, and our unyielding will to survive." A Thaian general rose from their seat, their towering form casting a long shadow across the chamber. "Your performance is exceptional, but it is also deeply unsettling. You fight as though you have nothing left to lose." Blake stepped forward, her voice calm but firm. "We fight because we know what's at stake. Every battle we've ever fought was for survival, not conquest. If we join your fight, we will bring the same determination. But understand this, we won't be used as tools. We fight on our own terms, for a cause we believe in." The council leader, a vast bioluminescent being resembling a living nebula, floated to the center of the chamber. Its shimmering tendrils pulsed with a rhythm of deep contemplation, signaling the gravity of the moment. The leader spoke telepathically, its voice resounding in the minds of all present. "Humanity has demonstrated its worth as a potential ally. Yet the question remains, can the galaxy endure the fire you bring?" The chamber fell into an eerie silence as the council continued to deliberate. The alien representatives, each one carrying the heavy burden of their civilization's futures, sat in uneasy contemplation. The images of humanity's performance in the Nexus arena were still vivid in their minds. Images of cunning strategies, relentless perseverance, and above all, the raw, unyielding determination to survive, no matter the cost. Humanity has proven its capabilities beyond question. The council leader's voice reverberated telepathically, filling the minds of all present. But what remains uncertain is whether their strength will save us or destroy us. As the weight of the leader's words lingered in the air, the debate began. The Thaian general, renowned for their species' martial prowess, was the first to speak. "Humanity's performance was nothing short of remarkable. They succeeded where many of our finest warriors have faltered. They turned weakness into strength, chaos into opportunity. They could be the weapon we need to defeat the Kryler swarm." A crystalline Yoran chimed in, its voice a resonating hum like vibrating glass. "A weapon, yes, but what happens when that weapon turns on its wielder? Humanity's history is littered with destruction, both self-inflicted and external. Their aggression is as much a danger as it is an advantage." Kale, the Tasian ambassador who had initially proposed humanity's inclusion, rose calmly to their feet. Their demeanor was a stark contrast to the rising tension in the chamber. "You speak of humanity as if they are a mindless force of destruction. Yet, did we not witness their capacity for strategy, sacrifice, and restraint? They did not fight for conquest or glory. They fought for survival." The debate grew heated. Representatives from more cautious species warned that humanity's presence could tip the fragile balance of power within the council. Others, desperate to defeat the Kryler swarm, argued that humanity was the only viable ally ally they could rely on. As the voices clashed, General Marcus Reeve, Lieutenant Kara Blake, and Dr. Eliza Carter stood in quiet anticipation at the center of the chamber. Finally, the council leader turned its focus on them. Humans, you have heard our deliberations. What do you say to these fears? What assurances can you offer that your strength will not plunge this galaxy into chaos? General Reeve stepped forward, his towering figure radiating calm authority. Esteemed council, I understand your concerns. Humanity has carried the burden of our potential for destruction for centuries. We have made mistakes, grave ones, but each mistake has been a lesson. He motioned toward Dr. Carter, who activated a holographic display. It showed images of Earth's recovery efforts following wars, natural disasters, and environmental crises. We have learned to rebuild, Carter explained, her voice steady, to heal, to strive for something better, even after we have faced the worst of ourselves. Lieutenant Blake, her voice unwavering and passionate, added, and we have learned the cost of war. That is why we don't fight unless it's necessary. If we join your battle, it won't be out of blind ambition or loyalty. It will be because we believe the cause is just. The chamber fell silent once more. The council leader's tendrils dimmed, signaling deep contemplation. Your words hold weight, humans, but words alone cannot erase the risks you bring. After hours of heated discussion, the council leader finally made its decision. Humanity will not be inducted into the galactic military, it announced. A wave of gasps and murmurs swept through the chamber. But our refusal is not a condemnation. Rather, it is an acknowledgement of your potential for both salvation and ruin. The council leader's voice echoed across the chamber. We cannot wield a power we do not fully understand. The human delegation exchanged glances. While the refusal stung, there was no bitterness in their expressions. General Reeve stepped forward once more. We respect your decision, but understand this. Humanity does not stand idly by when faced with annihilation. If the Kryler swarm threatens Earth, we will fight, not for the Council, but for our survival. And we will win. The Council leader's tendrils shimmered brightly in response. We do not doubt your ability to defend yourselves, General Reeve. But know this, if humanity survives, the galaxy will watch. We will learn whether your strength is a blessing or a curse. As the human delegation prepared to depart, Kale, the Tasian ambassador, approached them privately. I fought for your inclusion, Kale said, their voice tinged with regret. But perhaps this refusal is a blessing in disguise. The Council fears what you represent. In time, they may come to understand you better. Dr. Carter nodded, thoughtful. And perhaps, in time, humanity will come to understand the galaxy better as well. Kale handed General Reeve a small data chip. This contains information on Kryler movements. Use it wisely. The Council may not fight alongside you, but some of us believe you are the galaxy's best hope. Reeve accepted the chip with a curt nod. Thank you, Ambassador. We won't forget this. As the human ship departed from the Council station, the delegation reflected on their next steps. Earth stood at the brink of its greatest challenge, facing an enemy unlike any they had encountered before. But the Council's refusal only fueled their determination. Back on Earth, preparations began in earnest. Scientists, engineers, and military strategists worked tirelessly to develop new technologies and tactics, drawing from the lessons learned in the Council simulation. Humanity was preparing not just to survive, but to win. The final scenes shifted to a distant battlefield. The Kryler swarm loomed on the horizon, an unstoppable force that had obliterated countless civilizations. But this time, they would face something they'd never encountered before. Humans, united and unyielding, ready to fight with the full force of their ingenuity and resolve. In the aftermath of the battle, news of humanity's victory against the Kryler swarm spread across the galaxy, leaving its inhabitants in awe. The Council convened once again, their earlier doubts replaced by a mixture of respect and trepidation. The Council leader addressed its members. Humanity has done what we could not. They have proven their strength, but now we must ask ourselves, what will they do with it? The story ends with humanity standing at a crossroads, both a beacon of hope and a potential harbinger of change for the galaxy. Their future, intertwined with the fate of countless worlds, would depend on the choices they made in the coming years.